Hello everyone, and welcome back to Occult Perspectives. Glad to have you here. If you are new to this channel, what I do on here is I break down different esoteric research subjects, such as Kabbalah, Freemasonry, Tarot, the Tree of Life, ceremonial magic, you name it, we talk about it on here. So in today's video, this probably will not be a very long video. I know that I say that about a lot of them, but I know yesterday's, which was about Batman symbolism, didn't take too long to explain. Today's video shouldn't be too long either. So this video is in response to a question that I had from Karmic. So Karmic, if you're watching this video, this is in response to your question that you asked me in the Patreon. So I was kind of reading over the question this morning, and essentially what you were asking is if you can use angels, and you said you still want to learn how to perform the LBRP, the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, which that's great. And if you've never had a cleansing before, it's not a bad idea. You might want to use that a couple times so you can understand how the LBRP affects your energy field. But if you do the LBRP, you need to balance it out with the Lesser Invoking Ritual of the Pentagram. And I don't think banishing is really that necessary all the time. Really, if you only need to clean out your system, and if you're doing magic somewhere where the energy is just, not clean, it's chaotic. If you can't absorb that energy and utilize it, if you think it's going to get in the way of your magical practices or whatever, that's a time to use the LBRP. Lesser Invoking Ritual of the Pentagram, which I've done a video on recently on how to do that, or how I do it anyway. That's more for invoking divine energies rather than pushing energies away. So you're pulling energies to you. So in a way, it's more of a magnetic ritual than the LBRP. Because you're bringing the divine down from Kether into Malkuth. So there's several videos on the LBRP. There's lots out there. I have a 3-part video series on how to do it, little nuances and stuff that I kind of go into, because some people teach you how to do it, but they're missing pieces, or they don't teach you how to do the Lesser Invoking Ritual of the Pentagram, which is a big mistake in my opinion. You said you wanted to learn the LBRP, but if you are going to use it, the LBRP is more about an inner alchemical process. Yes, you can use it to banish certain forces. You can use it to negate quote-unquote negative energy. If you feel that you cannot absorb this negative energy into your own, energy field, you can use the LBRP to push energies away or to banish things. But overall, it's more about cleansing your internal temple and kind of creating like a clean slate to work with. That's more the way I like to view the LBRP. It's more like a energetic shower. But even just normal things like going on a walk like I'm doing right now, or taking a shower, those are more basic cleansing rituals. Because I know that if you're doing the LBRP and things which are banishing energies, there's going to be a force somewhere that takes that energy. There's going to be a more magnetic type force that pulls those energies in because you're pushing energy out. Plus it also lights you up on the astral plane, so you kind of want to be careful about that. We kind of want to get out of the mentality, though, that because you said you wanted to undo evil or to negate evil or wrongdoings against you. We'll get into that in a minute. But before I get into that, I wanted to say that if there are negative circumstances in your life, if there's someone that's giving you a hard time, etc., you have to ask yourself first, what is it about myself that is in energetic resonance with that thing or that person? What is it that keeps attracting me back to the person? And, as Jeremiah says on Universal Mastery, it's pretty self-evident at this point because he talks about it all the time. It does have to do with traumas and, big incidents and things that happened in the past, which get locked into your nervous system. So there's something about that past trauma, maybe even possibly from a past life, etc., which is magnetizing or pulling you towards that thing that you're wanting to banish or expel in the first place. So that's something to keep in mind. The other thing too is the whole not getting so caught up in the duality of good versus evil. It's not always a good versus evil fight. You know, it's more positive and negative polarities kind of doing their things to balance out the equation, which is life. You need both a negative charge and a positive charge to create life. Otherwise, it's just stagnant. So, and, you know, Jeremiah talks about that a lot on his channel too. So those are things to take into consideration. Remember that your quote unquote enemies are a reflection of aspects of yourself. I just talked about that in the Batman video yesterday too. So I hope that sums up the beginning part of my response to your question, Karmic. Hopefully you're watching this. If anyone else is watching this, even though this isn't your question, I hope that you can still find some value from this video and maybe apply it to your own practices or the way that you view the world. You can use it to empower yourself rather than be a victim to various influences. I think I'm actually going to turn back around this way because I saw somebody walking on the path. I'd rather just let them keep walking around, not have to run into them again. Not a big deal if I do, but I'd rather not be talking about magic and esoteric occult stuff with somebody who doesn't really understand. People demonize that shit right away and they think it's all evil because they don't understand that there's underlying principles behind everything. That's literally what occult means, is that which is hidden. So the other part of the question was, I have someone that I want to balance out karma with, not necessarily wanting to do evil to them, but just wanting to balance the scale, so to speak, is what you were saying. So yeah, take the whole good and evil aspect out of this. What is it about your energetic resonance that is attracting you to this person? And then healing yourself, healing your own traumas, doing your own shadow work will usually be enough to put you out of energetic resonance with that thing. The problem with bypassing or using things that are constantly cleansing your energy is that you're not actually dealing with the energy. You're just putting it off again. You're pushing it out back into the universe. And eventually there's kind of like a slingshot effect, or I'm sorry, a boomerang effect that takes place when you do that. You push the energy out, but then it's going to come back and it's going to be negative things which are manifesting outside of yourself now. So you're banishing the negative energy outside from, the temple, but it's going to manifest externally in your reality as something or someone potentially. So I've talked on this channel before about using magic, and quote unquote, some people could consider it baneful magic, sending negative energy towards other people. And that's really where your higher self has to come in and ask. You really need to sit with your higher self, and you can even do a tarot reading, like a small divination, to see, should you even go through with this or not. Well, you don't ask, should I go through with it? You ask, what will happen if I do go through with this? If your divination, that you do, if the cards are telling you that it's okay or that it's going to be a okay outcome, that's usually an okay to go ahead and do whatever it is that you need to do. If somebody's giving you a hard time and you're trying to even out karma, or you were asking about using angels to do such things. Now, usually angels are going to be the ones that they're more, think plus and minus. So positive. It's the building up factor of creation. Angels are more about construction. Demons are more about destruction. So if you're really wanting to, use negative energies or practices towards somebody, typically you would want to work more with demons, but you have to understand how they operate and how they function before you do such things. And you need to make sure that whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish through your practices or through your rituals is really what you want to have happen. So you were asking if you can use angels to kind of bring about that karmic balance. And Angels are going to be mostly, you use them like on yourself. Angels typically help with like different kinds of healing, especially like Raphael's physical healing. Gabriel is emotional healing, but angels, more like Michael, for instance, can be used in a spiritual warfare kind of way. That's what's interesting, is the energy of the angels can be used to do, you know, quote unquote bad things. Archangel Michael's fiery energy could definitely be put to use in that way. Archangel Michael is also really good for like sex magic. What you can do is, while you're, you know, having that intimate connection with your partner, you can take the energy and onk it above your head and bring it back down into your energy field. And while you're doing this, envision 4 upright red pentagrams around your body, the hexagram above and below. And then you don't have to actually say Michael's name out loud, but you can say within your own mind's eye, you know, or within the voice, quote unquote, the voice of your mind, you can start calling on Archangel Michael to give you more sexual energy, more sexual power. He's the Archangel of Fire, so it's all about drive, those types of things. So you could use Michael, or Kamael. Those are both very warrior type angels. But you could also use Zofel. Zofel, she is the angel of the sphere Bina, or Bina, however you want to pronounce it. And she's like the darkest of all the angels as far as I know. She's literally like the Saturnian angel. She carries an hourglass or a sickle, depending on how you want to depict her. She wears black robes. Damien Eccles actually invoked and used Zofel to, I don't know if you know Damien Eccles' story, but he was one of the Memphis 3. He was on death row, all this kinds of stuff. They were trying to ruin his life, you know, basically put him to death and stuff. And the system was super corrupt. And there was a politician or somebody who was in charge of putting him, you know, locking him up. And Damien used Archangel Zofel. He kept invoking her. And I think within like a couple weeks or something of doing that, he just set his intention when he invoked that angel. And then sure enough, the guy that had put him away or locked him up, one of the main guys anyway, they ended up losing their career. All sorts of bad stuff started happening to them. And see, Zofel is the angel of old age, karma, binding. So it's all the Saturnian elements. So that's more probably what you're going to want to use if you work with that angel. But yeah, I mean, I can't really tell you specifically what operation to perform. I can't really tell you which angel to work with, because you have to kind of gain a rapport and an understanding with each of these spirits that you work with. So it's really just how comfortable you are with the spirit, how much have you worked with it. And then it's really about your intentions. So try not to fight whatever it is in your life so much that is causing you all this distress, but try to recognize what part of yourself is being reflected outside of yourself. Work on yourself and heal first and foremost. And then if that doesn't work, I would say you could use the angels like I just mentioned, angels like the ones I just mentioned. And then of course there are going to be negative operations you could perform to quote unquote balance out that karma. You were asking about books, like specific books for certain spells and stuff too. And see, that's something I'm not going to be able to really tell you, because I don't have a book that just has like different spells on how to balance out karma and stuff. You may want to come up with your own, oh, something just flew right in my ear. You may want to come up with your own formula or ritual, which you can do, especially if you after practicing for a while and kind of reading what other people do for their rituals, after time, once you start to understand these energetic sciences and how they work, then you can really just kind of set up your own, your own practice or your own ritual for the purpose that you are wanting to, have manifested. But just be really careful about what it is that you're, what energies and what influences are going to be brought up by doing that operation. What's going to be raised within, repressed things will be lifted up within your own nervous system. If you're working with angels, sometimes you can get a little lightheaded. Sometimes you can, working with angels makes you feel a little more etheric in a sense. Like, so demons will help make you more dense. Angels help kind of make you more lighter, feel lighter and etheric. So anytime you're working with, my specialty is working with angels. I have worked with Lilith's sigil a couple times. I did have that energy come into my body and my nervous system once or twice. That may be something I have to make a whole video about, is my experience with Lilith. And then I've worked with various archangel talismans as well, especially Raphael for healing, Gabriel for emotional healing. And then I was just talking about different ways that you could utilize Archangel Michael, even just through, and that's the thing, you don't always have to perform an actual ritual. You could just, let's say you're having sex, for instance, and especially if you and your partner are both very conscious of these spiritual concepts and energy manipulations, then you can both work together to really reach euphoric states of awareness, where you're not releasing the seed right away. Instead, you're allowing that energy to build up and give you visions and ecstatic states of consciousness, which you could not really achieve otherwise. I think the act of sex and building up that energy brings about some of the most powerful spiritual experiences that a person can, even have. It's pretty high up there. And me being Scorpio, I really understand the importance of sex and, the importance of sex and being very careful who you share that energy with, especially when you're doing energetic work. Because if you're dealing with somebody that hasn't worked through a lot of their own stuff or doesn't do practices themselves, it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to handle all the dense energy that, the other person might bring. So if you're like a master wizard, you can utilize all the energy for your own strength. But usually with that kind of a relationship, you're wanting to give back and forth to your partner. It should be a reciprocal, exchange of energy. So I think that pretty much answers the question though. And, getting back to the original question, can you use angels to balance out karmic, basically to balance out the karmic scale? If somebody's doing you wrong, somebody's doing you dirty, can you use magic? Yes, you can. What kinds? Well, I don't really specialize in that kind of operation, So what I would say, at the end of the day, is just work on yourself. Sit with yourself, sit with your emotions. You could start working on simple things like the LBRP, and then from there, you can see where that takes you, and then you can let me know. Let me know how that goes. But I think I will go ahead and wrap up the video here. Like I said, I knew this was going to be a pretty short video. It went a little bit longer than I thought it would, but well, everyone, as I am exiting the woods today, just got off work again, so I worked another 5 a.m. So thank you everyone for watching. If you are not already subscribed, please go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Get subscribed to the channel. Hit the like button. It helps out a lot. Ring the notification bell if you want to be notified of new videos. And I'm hoping that I may be busy in the next couple days, so we'll see if I get some material up or not, but I plan to continue posting, and thank you for being here with me. So peace and blessings, everyone, and until next time.